Buenos dias. Good morning and happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Yeah, this is actually going to go out this month.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yay.
So it's Pride Month. It's June 2024, and I thought, well, who can I invite to the? I'm not calling it the red table because it's not. So. Who can I invite to our home and have some donuts and talk about what it means to be queer and feel queer joy? And I was like, Anna's. You've always been so like chill and like smiling and chill, and I'm just like, okay, let's bring her in. And then she's also Latina, so that's always like we enjoy that. So without further ado, Ana Marson. Oh my God, Marson.
It's okay. It's all good.
Dude, how can I not say that?
It's okay. You know, actually, my last name is a combination of my last name and my wife's.
No way!
Yes, it is.
Dude, Ana, we didn't think about that. We just hyphenated it. Well, we haven't legally hyphenated it, but yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
The Mars stands for Martinez.
Oh.
And the Son stands for Samson. So
my God.
we combined it and came out with Marson.
Marson. Oh, beautiful.
And it's such a white sounding last name.
I mean, it's pretty. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about today, and I am really excited because I think this is obviously a very personal but passionate topic of mine because, you know, when you're young, you don't feel like you're going to meet other people who have similar experiences or understand what you went through, and so it's been really cool to meet more people, including yourself. So welcome.
Thank you.
We usually start. Well, I do like to always ask people like, "Who are you?" Who are you really?
Okay, that's deep.
How would you? Yeah. That's how it is over here.
Oh my God, jumping right into it.
Oh yeah, we jump right in. Like, have a bite though. Oh, because nobody ever bites the damn donut.
I will.
Thank you. I have a napkin right here. Perfect. Thank you. Because everyone's always afraid to like get in there, but I'm like, no, get in.
No,
there.
you gotta eat the donut.
Yeah.
You know.
I already had a donut, y'all, so it's fine.
No. Who am I? Well, there are so many layers to who I am, but I am someone who's married, in a beautiful, happy, same-sex marriage. We have 2 kids. One is 17 and the other one is 9 years old. So navigating that is
the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds. I'm also obviously a daughter. I am a sister, an aunt. So at some point before I got married, I was a cool lesbian aunt. You know.
Wait, you're still cool.
Well, I mean, I'm still cool.
What's going on here?
Hey, listen, I'm not as cool as I used to be. I used to ride a motorcycle.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that was my main, mode of transportation for like 5 years.
That's very cool, actually.
I now
I can see
drive,
it, though. I can see it. I can see the...
Apparently, it's a stereotype. I don't know. But listen, it was fun. I have...
Wow, living life on the edge, though, right?
Dude, I came to find out that I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Oh.
Yeah, and I love the thrill of like high speeds and, but also having the control.
Oh, control.
So I am a control freak.
I'm like, me too, yeah.
I am also an advocate. I'm a musician. I'm an artist.
Musician?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Well, I started playing drums at the age of 9 or 10.
Okay.
It was at a small church.
Okay.
And there was no drummer. It was very, very small. There was a guitarist and maybe a bassist, but there was a set of drums there. So I remember it was a Tuesday night or Tuesday evening service, and my mom just looked at me and she said, "Go." And I said,
really? That's how that goes?
That's how that went. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, just go and sit and like do it, and I did.
And you liked it?
I did. I want to say that was like my first like love. You know?
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a lot of things. I'm also the director of health and wellness at the LGBTQ Center, Orange County, where I met the lovely Jackie.
I didn't tell her to tell this.
No, this is complete. There is no script here, nothing. So yeah, I am a lot of things, but most of all, I am very human, and I make a lot of mistakes. And I just try to be better every day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oof. We're gonna have some. It's so funny because we've been already talking offline for some time now, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna we're ready for this. So the question for today, as we all know, we start with a broad topic and then we'll see where it goes. But the question today is really like, what does it mean to feel or to experience queer joy? Do you want to take it away? Where does it start? Where does your head first go when you hear that question?
Feeling queer joy for me is not being ashamed of who I am. Being out in the open, not feeling like I have to hide a part of me, which is something that I struggled with for a long time. And, being a parent really puts that into perspective, being a queer parent,
I don't think we've ever had a queer parent on here, so, okay.
Well, yay.
Yay, the perspective will be great, yeah.
What kind of message would I be sending my kids if I felt the need to hide when we were out with them at Target, or when we were out with them at the store or the park or wherever we are? We want them to be strong, independent people who are proud of who they are. Yeah. So why should I not be proud? And so coming to that realization and being 100% comfortable brings so much joy to me. In my queerness.
It doesn't get more real than that, I would say. I can imagine. I'm not a parent yet, but yeah, I can imagine what that, like you said, it's almost like this, it's a complete full circle moment, I'm sure, to be a queer parent.
Yeah.
To be like, what am I literally going to tell my children?
Yeah. You got to be the best example, I think that younger generations do tend to forget the past, or they think, the past was so long ago, but it really wasn't. I think that we have lived through some monumental moments, in our history, and being a part of it really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
And even taking the social and political climate that the LGBTQ, population or community faces or is facing now, this is when we have to be proud. This is when we have to be visible, because there are a lot of people, a lot of forces that want to shove us back into the closet. And honey, let me tell you, that is not happening.
Not looking back, yeah.
No, we can't.
Not looking back, no.
And it's because of that we have to teach our kids, that we don't back down. We have to stay strong in our beliefs. We have to stay strong in who we are, because that is how they also learn to liberate themselves.
Yeah, I had a friend told me, she's like, and she's not queer, but she was just saying this idea of whatever things we've built on ourselves, even outside of queer people, just in general, the shackles we put on ourselves, or the barriers that we put on ourselves. When we liberate ourselves, we decide to do that, it's just so much more meaningful. Because it's it's you. You can be proud, you can believe in yourself, and yeah, when I think the words queer joy, I'm I think I still wrestle with them being together, the two words, queer joy, what? Yeah. Because like you said, and I've told people this, I'm yeah, you may see people who are out and proud, you don't know what they've gone through to get to this point. And where you see them right now is just them just being accepting of themselves, which is something, straight cis people don't have to go through that, right? You don't have to so yeah, let's talk about the starting, the beginning days, if you will. Like, I think for me, when I was like 8, I think I knew, like, you don't ever have the words for it, because if you're not in an environment where that you have those words available to you, so you can be like, oh, it's just this, growing up Latino home, you heard some negative things, like maricona, maricon, marimacha, like these negative connotations around these group of people. And then you hear like, oh, hay un primo, un tío, that's like there's a couple.
El tío. There's always el tío.
El tío, right? No, there's literally, I was telling my wife, I'm like, my grandmother had a cousin who was a teacher, and she married another teacher, and they ended up moving away to like Palm Springs or something. Like they went away from the family to be together, and now they're like in their 80s. I don't know if they're alive, but it's like, I think about that and I'm like, damn, like look at Anna and I, like we're out here in Orange County of all places, and like we get to do this, and it's just kind of like, it's just bizarre to me.
It is. I had a similar experience. So my sisters and I have a different dad.
Okay.
And one of their uncles is gay, and he moved to San Francisco.
Okay.
Away from the family, right? And I remember they would always, I was little, but they would always talk about Tío Alex. Like, oh, Tío Alex. Oh, he's so handsome. And sometimes you would hear oh, what a shame, And it's like, oh, like you internalize that, and
let's take a moment to think about that, because I like to we go deep. So that's a very, such a great example of like those little moments that if anybody's out there, again, like if you're in a space where you're saying things and kids are around, like we hear it.
Yeah.
And so this moment you're telling me, you're like, you hear this, you internalize it. What were you thinking at when you would hear that stuff? Like, what do you remember about what you felt in that moment?
Well, what I felt is like what I'm feeling how I see myself is wrong. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that there would be a time where I could be free, and that I could really be myself. Mm-hmm. And let me just tell you, my mom let me be a complete tomboy. She bought me boy toy, like cars and guns and this and that, and I had a bowl cut, and I'd wear like combat boots and
love. Okay.
She enabled that.
Okay.
But as I started to get older, she thought I would come out of that, and I never did. Oh. And as I started to become a teenager, she would say, why don't you dress a little more feminine?
Yeah, we've all been there, right?
We've all been there. And while I think femininity is beautiful in its own right, my femininity isn't what my family wanted it to be, and I tried. I mean, I tried, but it just never felt right. So going back to who I was as a kid, I knew I was different by the age of like 4 or 5.
Sorry, did you notice what you just said right now? You said like, you were saying like, I tried, like it's not what they wanted. And it's like, there's such power in growing up, and like I'm looking at parents out there, it's like when you want your kid to be a certain way and you just like putting this pressure on them, like you're not leaving space for them to be who they are, and like they're just, and then you feel the guilt. Like it's not like you try. You said you literally were like, I tried, and I'm like, dude, like I look back and I'm like, damn, like I wish we could like, it resonates with me, because I'm like, man, we're trying, but it's like the more we try, the more I feel like that we damaged ourselves. The more that we nos alejamos de nosotros mismos, like we created this distance from ourselves and our own love for ourselves by doing this for the love of our family,
right?
Which is like, I don't know, I just it's a very important point that I want to make here, because it's like it stays with you.
It stays with you. And even outside of being queer, right? Putting that pressure on kids, like you need to be this way. You need to be prim and proper, or you need to be this, or especially in our Latino households, right? Hyper femininity runs in my family. And I am the complete opposite.
I love.
My mom always makes a joke that I was born with a rebellious spirit, and that is 100% true. I've rebelled against everything. It's the reason why I rode a motorcycle for 5 years. It's the reason why even as a kid, I'd walk around and I'd have ripped jeans and bruised knees from, skateboarding and being on the bicycle.
But do you see that rebellion is not what one thinks it is?
No.
The fact that you actually wanted to experience your unique self and explore things that generations did not, that's so interesting, right? That she thinks you're rebellious, but it's if people had more space to...
Yeah. If people had more space to be themselves and to explore, explore who they are, especially as kids, letting them run around, letting them dress messy. And I know that there is an expectation, especially when you're taking your kids to school. We always tell our little one, make sure to brush her hair, because we want her to be presentable. Now, here's the thing. If she's going to school in her bed hair and in her pajamas and it's a constant thing and her work is declining,
right,
that's a red flag to the school, right? So we don't want any red flags, especially as a queer family. I think we're always we have to make sure that they see that they are in a good home, that they have a great family life.
Do you feel that pressure?
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think, and it's not because they're telling us. I think it's something that, again, back to
this. I tried.
Yes.
Yeah. There's such a.
You want to. So when my wife and I got together, my wife already had the kids, and one of my family's concerns was what about the kids? How are they taking this? And I remember telling them, they're doing great with it. They are happy. Yeah. They have a great support system. They have, instead of 2 parents, they have 4 parents that love and adore them. Yeah. And really worship the ground they walk on. And
they're really okay.
they're okay.
Wow.
But because of that, I think we just set a standard for ourselves of we have to stay great. We have to make sure that the kids are well taken care of, and not that we would drop the ball, but because this is a chosen family dynamic.
Right.
We navigate it differently than cis hetero couples that make their families, So it's definitely interesting navigating it. And then also hearing comments about how, our kids' friends and they love us. They, every time they say, "Oh, look, it's your mom's," and they come up, they're like, "Hi." And
does that bring you queer joy?
Oh
when
my
you're
God,
in that,
100%. I love that Brooklyn, she's our 9-year-old. She says, she's on a phone with her little friend, and she's like, "Oh, this is my mom. This is my mommy, and this is my mom." And
who are you?
Well, it always changes.
Okay.
And whatever she's feeling, but. They either call us Mama A or Mama J, and or she'll just say, "Anna, come in here." And so when I do that, and she's like, "Oh, here's my mom," and her friends are like, "Oh, hi," it's without them. I think we're just expecting for any kind of interaction to be maybe a little hostile, or especially with kids, knowing that their parents may not be okay with it.
Right.
We always want to be cautious. So when they say hi to me, I'm like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" And seeing them be so open and loving towards us and excited to greet us is really awesome.
Oh man.
Super cool, and but it's definitely something that we're navigating as we go, because our oldest, her school experience is so different from our youngest. So completely different. They're both like polar opposites, you know, and I don't know. I think we're the cool parents.
I mean, that's exciting to hear that, you know, because we don't really know a lot of like queer moms, you know, so it's so cool to see that you're experiencing that, and you're experiencing that queer joy of like just it's really about just feeling like you can be yourself, you know, and not be judged, you know. With Anna and I, like being out there with our business, you know, the first few months when I would come out and say like, my wife and I have a business, like that gives me, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but that gives me queer joy, because it's like I can openly say like, this is my life, this is who I am. And I was a little scared. It was a little scary at first, like, you know, it was like right before I would say it, I'd be like, but now it's like I'm feeling more comfortable, and more like comfortable. Really, ultimately, it's like feeling more comfortable with myself, right? To say that and be like, this is my wife and I, and you know, we've met so many amazing people who are so supportive of our relationship and our you know, our thing. And it's like it does feel nice to feel the support from not just a queer community but allies, you know. I just never imagined it. Like, man, like it's like I think allowing myself to be like, to see where I am today, it's hard to not carry what you've experienced, right? And allowing yourself to be like, hey, like my mom told me the other day, and it's really hard to like hear it, but she's like, you're so strong. Like, you're such a strong person to have had to, like, you held your own, you know, because my family, it was a struggle. And for her to say that, it's like, sometimes it's hard to like allow myself to like understand, like to hear it, to really like take it in. Do you feel similarly? Like, how do you feel about like where you are today? Like, do you allow yourself to be like, damn, like I'm proud of you, dude. Like you're married, you have your kids. Like, I do.
I have allowed myself to be proud of where I am. You know, I think so. I came out in my early 20s.
Okay.
And I always, you know, I never thought like that I would be married with kids. I just never saw that in my cards, you know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you just meet the right person.
Yeah.
And I am proud of where I am. I am proud of my journey, even when it was hard. And I'm not saying that it's easy now.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like
there's still a lot of navigating that we have to do. But when I came out, I can't say that it was a super like it wasn't a difficult time, but or that I had it really rough. I had my sisters who were 100% supportive of me. Who struggled the most was my mom. And I really don't understand, because
she was like encouraging the tomboy stuff.
And I think a part of her just wanted me to follow suit. But she always saw me as a person, not just someone who will eventually get married and do that. She wanted so much more for me. She wanted me to have a career and be financially stable, everything that I am today, right? She wanted that, just not as a queer person. And I think a lot of that has to come with converting to Christianism. You know, we were born Catholic, and at the age of 11, my mom converted into a newborn Christian, and so obviously I followed suit, and my sisters followed suit. And there, you know, this is the early 2000s, so a very tumultuous time for the queer community also. And while my mom, I had always known her to be very progressive, very like 100% like feminist and this and that. When she turned to religion, some of those views started to, you know, and I think the Bible does teach, you know, women have to be submissive, and you have to follow what God tells you, and you have to follow certain rules, and I just never fell in line.
You're like, what if we don't?
Yeah, but she did, and even then, I still think my mom, some of those things, I think she's like, I'm just gonna do my way, She's a very strong person. We've had to start all over several times. I grew up with my mom being a single mother, and both with both my sisters and myself, and especially with my sister, my oldest, having kids at the age of 18, my mom stepped in, and so I've known my mom to be this like hero, like this like strong, like when I think about like this rock, but converting to a newborn Christians reversed some of that, and I don't know if it's like an age thing too, right? Like feeling vulnerable and feeling lost, and then you find community in church, and I'm all for it,
Yeah. What do you think, you being queer? I mean, I know it's probably the obvious, but let's just put it out there. Like, what do you think? You said your mom wanted for you to basically be successful and all this stuff, but not as a queer person. You said so. What do you think being a queer person means to your mom, or what did it mean to them, you think?
Sin. As simple as that. I think it's sin. It's I remember a lot of the teachings of, as a parent, you are responsible for your kids' souls, right? And with the preaching of the second coming of Christ, and our social landscape and everything else, my mom did worry about my soul. I don't think she is not homophobic. I think being queer is something that a lot of our families don't understand, especially Latino families, because in our countries, Latin America, it is still so taboo. It's the reason why there are a lot of people escaping their countries, seeking asylum, because they fear for their lives, So my mom coming to understand what queerness is, it shifted, it shifted something. And now I think, going back to your question, is like my mom wanting to protect her daughter, making sure that she makes it to eternal life, right? But I think she came to an understanding that she needed to see me happy, And she sees me happy. She is she loves my wife, and she loves our family, and she loves the kids, and she's one of our like supporters, and whatever you guys need, and she's there every birthday party, and every whatever we.
What came around then? What was it? You said that did she started to see you happy?
Yeah, she wanted to see me happy, and even before meeting my wife, I was in a couple of like relationships, and she always said like, whatever you want to do, I just want you to be happy.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's very huge.
And so, exactly 10 years ago, looking back to where we are now, it's like when I was 17, I got my first tattoo, and she found out. It did not go well.
They always find out.
I know, it did not go well. But this is how things change, right? And I think it also changes with our times and how normalized things are. Because now, as of literally, a couple days ago, she was like,
"What?
Let's get tattoos."
Did you guys get tattoos?
No,
but she wants to.
But she wants to. She's like, the four of us should get tattoos, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Now we just got to convince my sisters.
It's almost like you're there's some similarities with me and my mother, but it almost feels like I go back to what you were saying earlier about rebellion. I'm like, it's so funny. Like, I think when you can actually create space for you to have your own thoughts and your own like questions and your own, like you said, like exploring things, like you get to really understand who you are. And I think like other generations, especially Latinas, like maybe didn't have those opportunities. And so they're like, well, no, my kids have to be how I was, you know, like that's just how it is. And it's like, we're breaking generational cycles. And recently I love bringing this up, but like on one of my coffee chats, like we talked about how like as queer people, it's like, it stops right here with us. Like we get to stop that. And it's like, I even read a book where it's like queer parents like are you technically actually even some of the best parents because of our experience of like being basically it's like. So then I'm circling back with the joy part, because I think yes, there's a lot of I'm not going to deny there's a lot of trauma bonding. You know, it does happen. But I do want to, and the reason why I think it's important to talk about what we just talked about, because it's like there's like some deeply core beliefs that we have to work through, and like we spent a lot of time accommodating for our family, and then it's like, but ultimately like I think my queer joy comes from being like, and I'm still working on it, right? But it's like, what does Jackie need? Like, what's best for Jackie? And that's really hard for me. And I understand, and now I am starting to really see where it comes from, this idea of like me not asking myself that question or having more trust in myself. And it was because when I was a kid, you know, like this very fundamental part of who you are, you have to hide and feel shame. And so I'm trying to, I think my queer joy comes from like allowing myself to feel like more honest with my feelings, right? Not having to hide things or judge myself. It's like, oh, if I feel this way, I feel this way, you know? So I think that's where I'm finding my queer joy. I don't know that I'm quite there yet. It definitely makes me happy to see other people like you living your truth. Like that gives me, even when I was in the closet, like every time I saw someone that was out, I was like, okay, I can do this, you know? Like, so, but I think I'm still finding it. I think I'm still on my journey of like, still trying to feel comfortable and finding it. And I think doing things like this, having these conversations with people in the community, it's like, it's really cool to hear your story. Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have these conversations. Mm-hmm. Something that's helped me a lot is working at the center. I mean that I say this because I have been in different types of work environments and industries. I was in the music industry. I was in the corporate industry, and then landed a nonprofit. And not just any nonprofit, but a nonprofit that affirms my identity. Mm-hmm. And something as simple as being able to wear a tie to work.
Really?
And not feel judged. That I remember it was such a culture shock for me. You know, and I'm like, this is, I feel at home.
So cool.
Thank you. And I thought so too. I would go into the office before and I'd wear like I'd wear my tie and stuff, and people would just look at me like,
are you serious?
100%. 100%. And when I was at the music studio, it was a lot of like physical labor. So I couldn't necessarily do that, and it was like late nights, and but it was also dominated by men, you know, and so there's also that intersection of being a woman
doesn't help,
comes in, you know, and it felt hostile at times. Mm-hmm. I loved it, but it was rough, you know, and so surrounding myself with other queer people and being in spaces where my queerness is not only affirmed but celebrated also allows that joy to come out a little bit more and to embrace it.
You're like, come out now.
Yeah, exactly.
Come out now. Yeah. I just imagine somebody going like, okay, Because, and as you were saying this, I'm like, dude, like, what would 10-year-old Jackie do? You know, like, or not even 10, like at this point, I said I was 8. I was like, what would 7-year-old Jackie do? You know, it's like, man, like, I don't know what advice do you have, but I think I still wrestle with like, I'm like, oh man, like, I wish I could have made it better for myself.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I did the best I could, but there's still a part of me that's like, oh, like, but I'm like, I don't know what I could have done at the same time, like, literally.
What can you do? And especially as a child, you know, you don't have a lot.
You don't have the tools and...
No.
Yeah.
And also that visibility.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, now with like my nieces and nephews, and if I have a child, you know, there's definitely going to be space for me to be there, you know, in a better...
I love that.
You know, capacity.
I'm excited for you to be a mom.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks, Anna.
I think you're going to do great. I think you and Anna are going to do amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We shall see. But yeah, it does excite me. It definitely like, and I think I also have a lot of learning to do too, even though I'm queer. Like, how do I also create this, like a safe and inclusive space for our child?
And that's another thing.
Because like, I was like, I still grew up in the same home. Like, I still have these core beliefs that didn't necessarily serve me, but they're still in me, you know, and I know it comes out. That's what I hear. I hear like when you become a parent, like
it comes out.
Certain things come out.
A lot of things come out. I grew up, my mom. So my sisters and I, there's a huge age gap in between, 9 and 8 years old.
Okay.
So when I was born and I started to grow up, I almost grew up as an only child.
Yeah. And
my mom had all white, like our furniture, and everything had to be neat, and you know, so I grew up with that, and having kids, it like distorts that, and it's like
what comes out, Anna.
Yeah. You know, and it's definitely a journey.
Okay, can we talk about? I'm trying to think of like these moments that really ignited queer joy. So one of the moments for me, I'll kick us off so you can have some time to think about it. But I'm thinking about maybe you can talk about Jen. But so when Anna and I first got together, I didn't really tell my parents because I was living with them and they were still like it was still. I don't think they really fully accepted it, or it was still a hard subject. So I didn't really tell them that we were dating, but I would keep on telling them like I had new jobs. So I'd be like, oh, I'm going out with my coworkers. My mom's like, wow, you're like making friends real fast. I was like, yeah. But eventually I told them, and I remember for my 30th, we were gonna have a dinner, like a family dinner. And I told my dad, I was like, so I'm gonna bring my girlfriend. I never said that to him ever. Like the other girlfriends I had never talked to him about him. And he was just like, okay. And I remember being like so distraught because that's all he said. And I was like, you're not going to even ask me what her name is. Like, you don't like, I was so distraught. And so I was going into I was going into that evening, like, oh God, like this is going to be hard. So then Anna's calling me because she's there already. And I just don't answer the phone. I'm just like, I can't. There's a point to this, I promise. I was like, I can't. Like I was like stalling because I was like, oh shoot, like because for me that was like me introducing her to my family was like, I'm gay. Like this is like gay, you know, like this is real. Like everything I've been talking about. Yeah. This is like putting a face to it, you know? But yet it was something like I had been keeping it private because it had been giving me so much joy, you know? Mm-hmm. And now I love my family. So I'm like, how do I put this together? And that had always been my issue was like, I spent so much of my life like making sure my family was okay that I was gay, and how there's this moment where I'm like, I wanted to be happy, but I'm like, and I don't regret it, right? So I don't regret, I have my birthday dinner, she's calling me, I'm stalling, and I'm not answering because I'm terrified. I'm like, shit, my worlds are gonna collide right now. Like, am I ready for this, you know? I mean, I'm turning 30, I should be ready for this. Anyway, so Anna gets there and she sees my dad. Okay. And she goes, I'm Anna, I'm Jackie's girlfriend. And I didn't think she was going to say that. I mean, she should have just, I thought she was just going to say, hi, I'm Anna. But the fact that she used, because, you know, words are very powerful. And so the fact that she literally articulated, like, I'm her girlfriend, I'm like, and then my dad was just kind of like, okay. come in like, and so she's nervous and she has this little succulent plant and she drops it. She's so nervous. And there we go, we meet each other. And I look back and I'm like, you know what? Like, what brings me joy about that experience is that like, to some outsiders, they might be like, damn, like calm down, or like, damn, they were really nervous. But it's like, that was human. Right. That was very human of us. Like, that is the experience. And it's like, sometimes showing up for yourself and taking those chances, like, doesn't look all like cool what people think, but it's like, but we're trying, you know, like Anna and I, we stepped up to the plate and and then the rest of the night was fine.
I love it.
It was beautiful. I drank and there's like pictures of us with like fake mustaches and we were like, and I ended up having such a great time, and I'm glad that I did that instead of feeling fear of like, well, if my dad doesn't even want her name, like, then I don't want to do this. I was like, no, like Jackie needs this, you know, Jackie needs it's my 30th, I want to be with my family and I want to be with my girlfriend and we're going to be together. And so I think we were talking offline right now about like, that there's a blockage, but there's a point to that story. Yes. So, right, I was telling Anna, I was like, I feel like there's this internal deep-rooted core belief area in which there's this block that I want to push through internally to feel that pure joy of just being myself, because I don't think I'm quite there yet. I understand that. But I think that's that self-liberation is going to help me just really trust myself more and just like I feel like it's holding me back internally. And I think it's like, and unfortunately it is because of like growing up gay. Like it's like this big thing that it wouldn't sound dramatic, but not that it attacked my inner beliefs about myself, but it affected them deeply. And I think they're coming out now because like there's these big things that I want to do, which is like build our business and do this, and be a mom. And it's like, there's this blockage that's like, girl, I'm like, I want that part of myself with me, you know, and so I guess it's a good thing that I'm recognizing, like, I do want this part of me with me. I don't want to blocked off anymore because I blocked it off when I was a kid. Yeah. Like,
I think recognizing it and working towards liberating, you know, it's, and again, you know, back to what I was saying, being unapologetically yourself.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you're going to walk into the room and say, I'm here, bitches. Like, you know, being unapologetically yourself is understanding that you are not going to apologize or minimize or hide who you are because of who you're surrounded with.
Yeah, no filtering it. It's like
no filtering yourself.
Yeah.
Being who you are, being in the moment with the people that love you, and the people that love you but don't accept certain parts of yourself.
Or don't understand.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, being queer and understanding what it means to be queer.
You kind of have to be queer.
You have to be queer. And, you know, something that really helped me was deconstructing what it meant to be a woman and what it meant to be a gay woman.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I'm going to thank my women's studies professor for this one.
Oh, thank you. What's her name?
Miss Traeger.
Oh, thank you.
We, you know, a lot of the literature she gave us, we reviewed what is to be a woman, right? A lot of the literature that is out there has been written by, you know, Black feminists and Black queer feminists, and understanding that there are layers of and intersectionalities of, you know, being their race, their gender, their socioeconomics, their abilities, or, you know, or disabilities. All of that comes into play when we are a person, right? And how we see the world. So what I came to understand about womanhood is that it doesn't look exactly the same for everybody. And at times, I don't see myself as a woman. At times, I do want to say that I am very gender nonconforming. But that is because my womanhood does not match what society wants it to be. you know?
100%.
Because it doesn't...
Well, it's only shown one way of being a woman.
It's only shown one way. And, you know, that's also, I mean, the way that we have grown up to understand what man and woman is very transphobic too. You know, there's, you gotta follow the binary. Fuck the binary. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
Can't.
Okay, good. Fuck the binary.
Fuck the binary.
You know? So there are a lot of people that don't understand that, especially when they're not queer, because they don't have to navigate what it is to be feminine and what it is to be masculine and to be in certain pockets within the community, right? That see you differently and accept you differently.
Yeah.
So understanding all of that, breaking it down, deconstructing everything you know that you have been taught about gender.
What did it make you realize?
Well, first of all, I had many, you know, existential crisis, right? But it made me realize that I can experience my gender in ways that it's not necessarily linear, you know?
I get that.
And that there is power in understanding that your gender is also a spectrum, such as your sexuality, right?
Yeah.
So I came to understand, because that even at some points I'm like, what, am I trans? You know, as a little girl, I wanted to be a boy. But thinking about, why did I want to be a boy? I remember thinking, if I'm a boy, I'm allowed to like girls.
Yeah.
You know? And when I tell you that I had a lot of existential crisis, that's where it took me back to my childhood. It took me back to those traumatic moments of like, I have a crush on a classmate, and I can't tell anybody because I'm a girl. You know?
I know. I'm like, I know. I know exactly what you mean. Well, I was gonna say real quickly, like Anna and I were talking too about a couple years ago. We're like I was like, I don't know why. Like sometimes and when I was younger, I could relate to the guys in the shows, and I'm like, I mean, yes, granted, I like the girls, but Anna and I were talking about it, like, because the guys are written with, like, they got to more privilege in their storyline, like what they were doing, and so there's also that, right, like of male privilege, and
they're allowed to be complex.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I don't have to be like this girl who's just like, I have more than, there's more than that, you know, except for Buffy, so.
Oh my God.
Except for Buffy, yeah. Oh. Except for Buffy. Buffy's like the only girl character where I'm like, okay. Although I didn't relate to her as much because I like Spike, but anyways, I'm not going to derail, but yeah, so you were saying, so you like these girls, but you couldn't tell anybody about it.
I couldn't tell anybody.
But you could tell that other people who liked boys could tell people.
Yes.
And so there's this, like, step one, or like, welcome to your life, like, you are different.
And I remember thinking, oh, maybe I should have a crush on a boy.
Oh yeah, I had a crush on boys because...
You know, because...
That's what they wanted you to do.
That's,
like,
yeah, and you know...
Your aunts are always like, which boy?
Yeah, and I'm like... And even as I became a teenager and adult, before I came out, I was in like these like straight relationships, and looking back, I'm like, these men all had very feminine qualities.
Did they? Yeah. That's funny.
You know, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a journey, and part of that queer joy, right? It's not, it can be a feeling, of course, but it's also recognizing your journey and knowing, hey, I overcame all of this, and I am a better person. I am in a better place today because I went through these challenges and barriers, and I'm still, breaking through the status quo.
Yes. Yeah, and we faced our truth, which is really hard to do, you know, like we faced it, and here we are, like, living truthfully with people we love. I think I am happy about that. I am very happy that I, like you saying that right now, like recognizing that, like, because there was many times where I'm like, I'll just date boys, and it's like, oh, I'm not that. I'm glad that I what is it? I persevered, and I was like, no, what's really my truth, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just need to allow myself, like, give myself that recognition and allow myself to make, like you say when you work at the center, like, or being in spaces where you can be like, you can, like, it's okay, you can come here. Like, I think I need to like guide myself into spaces or moments where I can give myself a little more, like, you can, it's okay. Like, you can be you, like, it's okay. I mean, I'm doing it, but I feel like I think I need to do it more, just more unapologetically.
Yes.
As you said. I think I do.
Yeah. I think sometimes that's hard.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think people might see me and be like, really? You everybody knows you're gay, Jackie. Like, but it's like, I don't know. It's hard. Like you said, it's not, hard. You may see us and you're like, oh,
but there's a lot that's going internally. That's going on internally.
Exactly. That's the part that people don't see.
No, and even as simple as walking into a space and not knowing if you are safe. You know, like, and I know earlier I talked about being proud in front of the kids, but also understanding and maybe drawing the line of, like, is this safe for our kids? You know, are they gonna, like, if something happened, like, we also have to look at that. We have to keep looking over our shoulder, and it's
how is that? I mean, what advice do you have for people like Anna and I? Like, that is true. That's a fact. You know.
Honestly, till this day, my wife and I have never been approached, or we've gotten looks. That's as far as it goes. We've gotten looks, but my wife and I just keep looking over our shoulders, but we don't let it show for the kids.
For the kids, yeah.
You know, and if we feel that it is not safe, we make sure that we want to remove ourselves from it. Yeah. Without inducing panic, too.
Yeah.
You know, our number one goal is their safety and their happiness, and so I think we are in a better time where we are allowed to be out in public openly, you know, and I think when people see that the kids themselves feel comfortable and happy, it almost like eases them, you know.
And that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
I was going to tell you a funny story real quick. When we were in San Francisco, of all places, there was a homeless gentleman. We were walking and we were holding hands. He comes up to us. He's all, lesbians, and we're like, oh god, here we go, because we already had a hateful comment in the past, so we're like ready for it, you know. Are beautiful. We're like, okay. No, maybe we weren't in San Francisco. I think we were in Austin, actually. In San Francisco is when there was a homeless man that was like, you're going to hell. We're like, yeah. We're like, yeah, we'll see you there. Why not? No, I think we made a good point about the kid thing. Because when we first started dating, I would get nervous to hold her hand in front of children. I still get a little bit like that, but I think now that we're navigating, you know, like being parents, I think that's where the unapologetically. Those are the moments, right? Like, it's like those are the moments where I'm like, I'm gonna fucking hold her hand. Like, that's
you
what
have
I'm fucking
every right to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's healthy for kids to see different kinds of relationships too.
Well, I worry about the parents. I don't even worry about the kids. I worry about the parents being like, oh, I don't want my kid to see that. And I think that's what I'm afraid of. But you're right. It's like,
but what are you going to do? I mean, that's them, you know, and you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. You know, and if they don't want their kids to see that, they can easily walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm. Well, you're helping me see some really important things today. Thank you, Anna.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This has been really awesome.
Yeah?
I love this.
Oh, I love this too. I'm like, Anna, just stay. Just stay. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Any final words as we close out?
Yeah. I mean, I think understanding that Pride doesn't only happen in June, and that for a lot of queer people, we don't have the luxury to hide our visibility outside of June.
Right.
You know? But regardless of that, it's always great to have a month where we are celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't hate it, you know.
Hey, this is when you're able to buy all the cute merch.
Right?
Yeah.
There's actually, I'll put it in the link of description. There's two lesbians, Latinas in Texas, I think, and they sell some really cute merch. They have the ones that say "Bien proud."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so we'll put it down there, and we'll put your information down there if you're cool with it. Your
absolutely.
Instagram, if you want to follow.
Yeah.
And or have questions.
I'll give you. So we actually have a family Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah. We haven't posted in a long time,
Okay.
but we're like bringing it back. So I'll
Bring
give
it
you.
back.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Yeah. Any other families out there?
Hey, if you're queer and you have kids, we need more of you.
Yeah, I think we need more.
Yeah. We don't have that visibility.
Well, I think as soon as we have kids, maybe we can put together. We can like have like a.
We should do like
a meetup or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Barbecue, like
something.
Have
it make it a queer day.
Yeah. I think it's a very full circle moment for me. I'll end it on that. For me is I never wanted to be a mom. And it had a lot to do with, well, I'm just gay.
Yeah.
I'm just gay Jackie. I'll be the gay cool aunt.
Yeah.
You know, oh no, why would I have kids? Because there was so much trauma and so much bullshit that I'm just like, why would I be a mom? Like, I can't even, been trying to figure out my own shit, you know?
Right.
And luckily I do believe in God. With the grace of God, I don't have a religion, but I do believe in God. I do believe that there's a higher being for me. A couple years ago, because I was doing the healing, I was doing therapy and was making choices for us, for me, not my family, for like what was my new family, you know. And last year it was like, one day to the next, I was like, holy shit, that would be incredible to be a mom.
Yeah.
Like me being a mom, I feel like that would be incredible. And I can't unsee it. And now I'm like, oh my God, this is like, I was telling Anna, I was like, this is so mainstream of me. This is freaking me out. But yeah, I'm just like, it's opened up my heart and it's like, I think it's one of the blockages that I've been able to unblock.
Yeah.
And be like, it's been there all along. Like I could have, like, I just didn't allow myself because of all that stuff. So I think that brings me queer joy to be like, I can be a gay mom. Yeah. Because there were times where I would walk across like Target aisle and be like, oh, I shouldn't be like, yeah, isn't that sad? Yeah. But now I'm like, no, I'm like, this is exciting. Like I know that much about myself. I'm like, I know that I am worthy of that. And I know that I could be good to this child. And me being gay has nothing to do. No. Like, if anything, me being gay could really help me.
Yes.
I never thought of it that way. It's like,
it could help you. It brings a different perspective to your experience and the experience that, and even the things that your kid is going to experience, right? Or even be exposed to.
Yeah.
It'll bring a whole different world to them.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost like getting a second chance to heal your inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That very much resonates with me. So we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for sharing your experience, and I'm really happy for you and your family.
Thank you.
I'm glad your mom came around.
Yeah, me too.
Very cool. Yeah.
Me too. That's
very cool.
Yeah. And thank you for having me. I thank you for doing these. I think they're they're informative. You know, I think talking about topics that really relate to our existence and our personalities is always important. And also, thank you for the donuts. Delicious.
You get to take this home, baby.
Yay.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
yay.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.